It does look like some of the lawmakers, the pro-Wike lawmakers in Rivers State, are raising an alarm over a possibility of violence in the state. Yeah, just today we saw that there is a heightened tension in the state, and the governor, Similayi Fubara, visited the assembly quarters in Port Harcourt. The quarters serve as the official residence for the 32 legislators of the state, and also houses the temporary chambers of the Martin Amowele-led state assembly since the demolition of the main assembly building. The governor was accompanied today by a convoy of uniformed and civilian aides, and Governor Fubara briefly toured the premises before departing to inspect the Emoa-Kalabari Road slated for inauguration. Some of the lawmakers said to have said that they do not have a problem with the assembly as they just moved into it and nothing is wrong with it. This is coming just a few days as we saw a new factional speaker emerging, Mr. Oko Jumbo, who emerged yesterday amidst all of these controversies. Victor Oko Jumbo was elected as the new speaker for the 32-member assembly and said to have been elected at about 10 a.m. during the plenary yesterday in line with the standing order of the House. Oko Jumbo was one of the 4 lawmakers loyal to the governor of Fubara in the wake of the political crisis in the state. Yesterday, the People's Democratic Party came out to condemn the statement made by Mr. Tony Okocha, who is the chair of the APC Caretaker Committee. Let me remind you of what Mr. Debo Ologunagba said. He's saying it is unlawful, unconstitutional, the decision of the APC and the statement credited to the APC to ask for the impeachment process on the governor. Take a listen to Debo Ologunagba of the PDP.
The attention of the leadership of the People's Democratic Party has been drawn to a delusional declaration by the chairman of the All Progressive Congress in Rivers State, Mr. Tony Okocha, wherein he issued a hallucinatory directive that an impeachment proceedings be commenced against the democratically elected governor of Rivers State. In any event, the individuals that the Rivers State APC chairman directed to commence impeachment proceedings against Governor Fubara are not legally members of the Rivers State House of Assembly and cannot contemplate or exercise such powers under the law.
All right. You remember there were 2 commissioners who left the Governor Fubara cabinet. It was including the Attorney General of Rivers State, Professor Zacchaeus Adangor, who now joins us live here in our Abuja studio. He's a senior advocate of Nigeria. Thank you so much, Prof, for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Sean, for having me.
First and foremost, let me ask you, one of the accusations or the allegation against you is that you are sabotaging the Governor Fubara cabinet and government. Why? You are a senior advocate of Nigeria. Why would you want to bring down a government of the state?
Well, Sean, let me just say this emphatically, that statement made by the governor of Rivers State is injuriously misleading and lacking any truth whatsoever. For the brief period I served as the Attorney General, I provided quality legal advice on virtually every issue referred to me that enhanced the administration of Rivers State. In point of fact, there are 2 flagship programs that has been back upon. First is the housing scheme. I led the team that negotiated the entire terms of that public-private partnership. The second is the loan scheme. I led the Rivers State delegation that negotiated the terms of that loan scheme. If I wanted to sabotage his government, I would have been part of those negotiations. The real problem started after the issuance and execution of the presidential peace declaration. You recall that on the 18th of December, the president invited all members of the contending parties to the presidential villa, where the governor, along with other political leaders, signed the presidential peace pact. Now, after that, the governor, in fairness to him, during his Christmas statewide broadcast, reaffirmed his acceptance of that peace pact and his commitment to full implementation, but contrary to that public posturing of the governor. He secretly instigated litigation by sponsoring and financing several persons and organizations to file suit against the state government and the Attorney General to challenge the validity and implementation of that peace pact. And I found that very, very disturbing. Now, as soon as that happened, the governor invited me into his office and strangely directed me that whenever any process was served on the chambers of Attorney General, I should refer the court processes to his office for direction. That has never happened since my inception of office as Attorney General. I obliged because I wanted to be sure what he was up to. I referred all the matters to him, and then he referred them back to me with instruction that I should handle them. I recall one particular one filed by one Dr. AJC Chiwon. Each of those matters challenged the validity of the presidential peace pact. I worked on them, and I came up with my counter affidavit and my written address, challenging the competence of the suit, challenging the jurisdiction of the court, challenging the local standard of the party, because I argued that none of the parties, none of the claimants on record had been able to demonstrate their interest, what injury they suffered if that peace pact was implemented, and how they have been exposed to any danger. Now, after I filed the processes, the governor subsequently invited me to his office. And when I entered the office, he threw a paper at me. So, Attorney General, look at that paper. I picked up the paper and I looked at the paper. It was the process I filed in that suit instituted by Dr. C.A.J. Chiwon. And said, why did you challenge this suit? Why did you challenge the competence of the suit? I said, Your Excellency, sir, when it comes to matter of law, as Attorney General, Chief Law Officer, I am the master. I should be the one to direct you. You cannot direct me on question of law or how to handle a matter in court. I said, I challenged this suit because the claimant did not disclose their interest. He said, you shouldn't have challenged them. I said, in that case, what is your interest? This is a suit filed against the government. And you have publicly declared your commitment to implementing that peace pact. So why are you interested?
But you answered to the governor. He's your principal. He appointed you.
He appointed me. And the Constitution says under Section 195 that I am the chief law officer of the state. That makes me the chief legal advisor of the River State government. And so on question of law.
Advising the governor.
Yes.
So you work at the dictate and of the governor.
Certainly not, sir. When it comes to matter of law, I have the responsibility, the sole constitutional responsibility to advise the governor. The governor cannot issue direction to me on how to handle a matter in court. Certainly not.
Do you work at the behest of the governor, your principal, or not?
Of course, on certain matters, yes. But when it comes to matters of law, particularly in respect of a matter in court, the governor cannot direct me on how to argue a case in court.
Let's assume that the governor is your client. And as a lawyer, do you go against the will of your client in court?
In this case, the governor was not my client. I was sued, representing River State government. Governor was sued. We were both defendants. And I was worried why the governor should now want me to accept, as it were, not to oppose the suit.
You did not consult the governor, did you? Did you consult the governor before you filed the counter?
I have told you earlier that governor had directed me to refer all processes to his
Did you
office.
refer that particular matter?
I did, and then he returned them to me with instruction that I should handle them. Governor did not need to go further to tell me how to handle a matter in court.
Are you worried that the governor was not going to live by the agreement that was structured by President Tinubu at the villa?
Very, very worried. Because in public he said one thing, but behind he was doing another thing. I was happy when he declared publicly that he was committed to the full implementation of that peace pact in spirit and in letters. I was very happy. But then, contrary to that public declaration, he showed another thing by telling me not to oppose suits filed by persons challenging that same part he said he was going to implement. And I found that very, very disturbing. And I said, well, on the law and the facts, the position I've taken in this suit, I can't change it.
So when you resigned, you were reassigned to the Ministry of Special Duties.
Well, that
angered you.
That didn't anger me. I was not angered. Of course, you know, when you are working with a person who seems not to have confidence in you. Of course, I was really deployed. I was never consulted. I was really deployed. And of course, I thought
Does the governor need to consult you?
Of course, if you are working with the governor and he wants to redeploy, there's nothing wrong in governor telling, look, I want to move it from this ministry to another ministry.
It mustn't. There's nothing that said that.
It's not a question of legal right. I agree. But in that case, that redeployment was designed to denigrate the office of Attorney General. What was that supposed to be doing there? It was that redeployment was a consequence of my insistence that I was going to handle those matters in accordance with the law and my conscience. That was the background to redeployment. And I thought that was a convenient point for me to leave. And
so politically speaking, you have your two legs painted in different colors. And I explain to you.
Yes.
One, on the fact that your loyalty is on one political end, and you're working officially with one loyalty on another leg, which means that you're working with Governor Fubara, but you are of the Wike camp in the PDP. Is that right?
All of us are members of the People's Democratic Party.
I'm talking about politics now.
All
you
of us
are loyal to former Governor Wike. Is that right?
Even the governor himself, all of us were brought on board by Governor Wike.
But there's been a feud. If there was not a crisis, there wouldn't have been a resolution mechanism that took the major players to the president.
Very well.
So it was obvious that some of you are working against the interests, political interests of the governor.
I never worked against the political interests of the state.
As the
Attorney General
of the governor.
As Attorney General.
I've taken you away from the
as Attorney General.
I'm talking about politics now.
I was the chief law officer.
I'm talking about politics now.
I was the chief law officer, and I had to advise the governor on questions of law.
I'm not talking about your official duty. I'm talking about your political allegiance.
Of course, politically.
Who are you loyal to?
I'm loyal to Wike. There's no doubt about that.
So, do you feel comfortable that you are loyal to former Governor Wike, and that probably had angered Governor Fubara?
I wouldn't know whether he was angered by that or not. But as far as I can remember, he was angry that I insisted on conducting a matter in accordance with the understanding of the law.
Do you feel it's some kind of disloyalty working for Governor Fubara and being loyal to Governor Wike?
I never applied to work under Governor Fubara. I was invited to serve under him. Even after my first resignation on 14th November, I never wanted to come back as a president. But the president, and if all fairness to you, and with due respect to the president, asked us to go back, and I had to go back to assume office again as Attorney General. Governor Fubara can never be any misconception as to where my loyalty lies. And I had private discussion with him. I said, we need to resolve your misunderstanding with Governor Wike, because all of us are members of that political family.
What did he tell you when you told him?
Of course, he did not evince any genuine desire to have the impasse resolved. I have to say that
there are those on the outside who feel that the trouble is coming from Nyesom Wike's side and not of Fubara. There are those who see similarly Fubara as a peace lover, gentleman, milk, and they think that the troublemaker is your side of the political divide.
I'll give you 2 instances to show that he's not the kind of person people think he is. He's not a peacemaker. Let me give you 2 instances. You remember that I have been on leave of absence from Rivers State University. That's my place of primary assignment. Now, when I resigned on the 24th of April, 2024, Governor Fubara thought that I would want to return back to the university. I'm aware that he had directed the management of the university not allow me to return to the university. That cannot be a decision taken by a person of peaceful disposition. Secondly, a customary call was to establish my own community at Ataba. Because of my recent regulation last year, that is on 14 November 2023, he refused to sign the warrant of establishment of that customary court. That was punishing me and punishing the whole community for the alleged sin of one time. That is unfair. That is not evidence of a man who has peaceful disposition. Certainly not.
In this matter that is ongoing, because now, if you look at the new development ongoing right now, there is a factional Okujumbo, factional Speaker of the House of Assembly in Rivers State. And as a lawyer and a senior advocate, a member of INABA, I'm asking you a question now, as a senior member of the bar, what do you think is going on legally speaking? What is the implication?
Well, I don't know what game they are playing. As far as I can remember, there are 3 members who claim that they are loyal to Governor Fubara.
There were 4 of them.
4 of them, okay. Now, if you look at the proviso to section 191 of the Constitution, that proviso sets the upper and lower limit. It says an assembly shall consist of not less than 24 members and not more than 40 members. In other words, you cannot have a state assembly that has less than 24 members, nor more than 40 members. There are only 4 of them. That certainly is not an assembly contemplated under section 191 of the Constitution. And that's the fundamental flaw in the game they are playing out. That's the fundamental flaw.
If you look at issues of legal precedence and where it has happened, we've seen it in Oyo State under the former Governor Ladoja. We've seen it happen in Kogi State. We've seen it happen in several states of Nigeria where there are smaller numbers of people. I've seen this gone to the very top. We've seen assembly crises and the state. We've seen it happen in Adamawa State. Over the years, all of these feud between the assembly and the executive culminating into the impeachment of the governor. The question is that what happens when the manner in which the assembly is upturning the decision or the legal intent of the governor on the bills that are being passed? Nothing less than 4 or 5 bills are being passed against the interest and the position of the governor of the state. What do you think is going on?
The assembly has the legislative power to enact laws, and the framers of the constitution contemplate that there might be a situation where the governor may decline to grant his assent to a bill. They therefore provided that where that happens, you have to take that bill back to the assembly again and go through the process of passage, go through the whole hog of passing that bill. And if by 2/3 majority, they really pass that bill afresh, then that bill becomes law. And the consent, the assent of the governor is dispensed with. I didn't frame that provision. So the assembly is entitled to take advantage of that provision.
So
and that's what exactly
those who say it is legislative rascality.
That cannot be. That
in Rivers State.
It would be unfair to describe that as legislative rascality. It would be unfair because if the constitution if the constitution denotes a power to an assembly, and the assembly exercises that power, how dare you describe that as legislative
There's
rascality?
a lot of issues that people are raising, and they are regarding as illegality in what is happening in Rivers State. In fact, the intervention of the president has been referred to an unconstitutionality and illegality.
I wouldn't want to comment on it because there are several issues pending in court questioning the validity of that presidential peace pact. And it would be unfair of me as a member of the INABA to express my personal opinion on that issue.
What about politically, if you're not expressing a legal view on it?
In this case,
do you think it's working?
Do
you think that political intervention of the president is working at all?
Well, the recent actions of the governor shows that he has completely abandoned that presidential peace proclamation. And that is very clear. That he has abandoned that presidential peace proclamation.
But there are those who think that it's in fact those who are loyal to the other side, to the Governor Wike's side, are the ones that are fueling the trouble. The members of the House. Some of you who resigned from the office, who are seen as disloyal to Governor Fubara, and he has said one of the reasons why he has kept mute and he has kept silent is because he's respecting the president and the president's intervention.
It is one thing to say that you are respecting the presidential peace pact. It's another thing to show evidence of actual commitment to the implementation of that peace pact. So far, I'm not convinced that Governor Fubara is fully and genuinely committed to implementing that presidential peace pact. It's not.
So you blame Governor Fubara?
If that peace pact collapses, as it appears to, of course I'm going to blame him.
Do you ascribe any blame to former Governor Wike?
Nobody has told me what Governor Wike has done to undermine the implementation of that presidential peace pact.
What about his statement in Rivers State?
Refer me to one.
The statement that he made that there's going to be consequences upon whatever happened.
Whatever happened concerning what?
What is going on. And this was after what happened, the peace pact.
Even the governor himself, when he accused me of undermining and sabotaging his government, said I was going to suffer consequences, not in the next world, but in this world. He said so.
But, I mean, what about those who they call for impeachment? Those who are saying, how dare Mr. Okocha ask the House of Assembly to commence impeachment proceeding on the governor?
I am not Okocha who made that call. But what you must understand is that there are provisions in the Constitution for impeachment. The fact that somebody was democratically elected as governor does not preclude this impeachment. If the Assembly is convinced that there are facts that require the commencement of that proceeding, they can.
What do you think is the way out in all of this?
There is need for reconciliation. And both parties must be genuinely committed to reconciliation. There is need for reconciliation. Because, of course, like today now, I watched video that the governor visited the Assembly quarters. That Assembly quarters was commissioned less than 4 years ago. I don't know what his plans are. In fact, there are indications that a certain part of that quarter has already been marked for demolition. Recall that the assembly complex was demolished.
And that is where they are sitting.
Yes, where
politically speaking, there are those who think that untoward and possible impeachment proceeding activities are about happening or could happen.
So if it's about to happen, is that why you go and put down the...
If you were a governor, will you sit in your office and allow impeachment proceeding to be...
Impeachment proceeding is constitutionally provided for. So why will I go and demolish where the assembly sits?
I'm asking. Is his visits to that complex illegal?
I will not take...
Is there any illegality in his action of visiting authority?
There is no question of illegality. The assembly complex, particularly the chambers, was demolished. Even under the doctrine of necessity, the assembly can sit anywhere else. There is no question of illegality.
Who do you think will handle this reconciliation? Because the one President Tinubu intervened on doesn't seem to be working.
Parties must come together, genuinely come together to resolve whatever differences there are. I don't expect Mr. President to intervene again.
What do you think is the difference? Do you think is the problem between former Governor Wike and Fubara?
Let me tell you the truth. Every governor has somebody who supported him or her. And that is not unknown to our law. Now, if somebody supported you, of course you don't expect those who supported you and those who work for you to walk away after your inauguration. But somehow, I'll give one instance. When the political campaign started, Wike lost virtually all his political friends on account of the fact that he wanted Fubara to run for the governorship of Rivers State. You can call all the big names in PDP Rivers State. They all left him. But as I speak now, those are Fubara's closest friends. Those are Fubara's closest friends. How do you rationalize that?
All right. I wish the people of Rivers State the very best in all of these, and for the sake of the governance and the people of the state, hope that those who are in the principal players in this will come round to the table and resolve their differences. Professor Zacchaeus Adangor, former Attorney General of Rivers State and Senior Advocate of Nigeria, thanks indeed for coming tonight. And I wish you the very best.
Thank you for having me.
So you're going back to the classroom now.
Thank you for having me. He has directed management not to allow me to come, but that is not the problem anyway.
You go back to your practice?
I have a private practice.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.